I have very high expectations for these fish we're about to unbox, and that's mostly because in the past we've gotten these from sources where, not that they're spam breeding them, but they're just bigger companies that don't take the time to really invest in what they're trying to produce. When you get fish from a hobbyist like we've done now, you get something that is typically of a much higher quality. You get them from somebody that has taken the time to really look for the traits that you want to have in the particular fish, and then just make sure that that's what you're breeding. So it's a level of care that you just don't get anywhere else. So I'm fully expecting for these fish to look much different than the ones we've gotten in the past. Even though they've been in the bag for a couple days shipping to me, I think that's something that you always have to keep in mind, but I'm thinking this is, wow, I mean, they're moving quick. I gotta show you what I'm looking at here. This is, I can already tell, even though the water's a little cloudy, these guys have traveled, looks like a little hard, but I mean, that is crazy. And that's just the difference that a hobbyist, somebody who takes the time to go through and handpick the genetics, whereas like a bigger operation of, you know, a fish seller, a fish farm, whatever have you, they just don't have the time and the patience and the care to do this. This is what I was naively expecting to get when we got our first shipment of rainbow shiners from a different source, obviously. These come from White Cloud Dynasty, and he didn't want to shout out. Go and watch his YouTube channel. I'll put a link for it somewhere. He doesn't always sell fish, and I think he still has to go through his whole season before he has things. He said not to mention it, but I got to give the guy some love. Super humble dude, and he hooked me up with some amazing fish that obviously he really cares about, and I care about so much, even though I'm just in the very beginnings of this whole, like, getting to know the rainbow shiner. Super stoked for these. But therein lies a problem, because we need to keep these fish separate. I don't want to mix their genetics in with the other rainbow shiners that I have. Like, who knows? Those fish that we got last time could be, like, could have some potential like this, but I just, we want to maintain, we want to respect this line of fish and try and continue it the best we can. So we need a separate home for them. We need to set them up with a whole nother pond. We want to keep them outside, of course, because it's the season to do so. I kind of have a little problem in that I don't have a ton more space. I guess theoretically I could always make more, but I don't have a ton of room for all of these ponds. I'm sure my wife is gonna love filling up her back patio space. I'm just kidding. I'm sure she loves every minute of this just as much as I do. I already made an emergency trip to Lowe's. I just got home. We're unboxing these fish immediately. Got some more ponds, so let's go talk about that. We got everything kind of set up over here, back with more of the A&R planters. These are kind of like my favorite ones, and they match some of the other ones we have over here. So already thinking about like where we're gonna put other rice fish and sort of making this area more complete, but we do have to do a little bit of prep to these. Like, the small ones are pretty much ready to go. You can just wash them out and they're good to go. Actually, no, they're not. I forgot that they also do have a tag. I thought for some reason they didn't. So this little hole, we need to silicone this, and obviously we don't have a ton of time. So I think we're gonna fill up a bigger pot just below that and then deal with that later. Kind of an annoying aspect about these pots, but I don't know. It could be way worse and more labor intensive than just adding a dab of silicone. I think we're gonna set these minnows up just right over here by the existing minnows that, shocker, are still scared and like to hide in the corners. It's hard to see with all this glare out here, my bad. But you can tell that the water is getting a little greened out. It's a little yellowy, which we know is unsightly. I don't think I've showed it off here. I did in like an Instagram video a million years ago where we took a look at green water, and I know this isn't green, but as it develops and starts to get more and more algae in it, so do the other microorganisms. So we took a sample, we looked at it, and there was a ton of rotifers in there. I mean, it was rotifer central, okay? They were exploding. Tons of free food for the fish. So every time they absorb some water, it goes into their stomachs and they have a little nutrient source. So while it does look kind of funky, there's nothing wrong with this water. It doesn't have a super high buildup of nitrogen or anything that could be dangerous to the fish. Me standing here is freaking these guys out even more, so I'm gonna step back. But it's actually kind of like the best thing ever. So it's a food source for the fish. The smaller the fish, the better. They haven't really been breeding that much, or at least I can't tell if that started to happen yet. These are still a little bit younger than the fish that we just received, but We don't want to mix those fish with these for the same reason that I kind of just mentioned. We don't want to mix this genetic pool with that one. We'll probably do a water change on this guy a little bit later in the video, but we want to get these new fish set up and out into some fresh water because they are probably not wanting to be in those bags anymore. I think we're also just gonna rock some black soil for these fish because we have the original ones in some lighter substrate, and it does impact the coloration of the fish, or at least how they look to you. So I don't know, I kind of talked about that in the last video, wanting to maybe try that out. So I just have some random fluval or like whatever planted aqua soil type stuff down here, and not really gonna matter too much because we're probably not gonna plant this. This is kind of like a temporary thing that we'll build upon over time, but I think this is probably just the only step that we need to do here to make it ready for the fish. So obviously we need to put water in it. Pretty much impossible to not have it be a little bit cloudy after this. Like no matter how many times I dump this out, it's still gonna be a little weird, but just kind of fill it up slowly, be patient. It should all just settle out at the end. We'll grab some dechlor and probably, I don't know, we'll grab some bacteria, why not? We gotta make sure this water is good, good, good. If we didn't have to add the fish right away, like if we could wait a day or two, then the chlorine wouldn't be something that we had to worry about. But might as well just put a little drop drippy in there and we don't have to worry about it. Or if you have chloramine in your water, that can take like weeks for it to gas off. As far as temperature goes, these fish should be okay. They're a cold tolerant fish. Whatever temp it puts out of the tap, like, I mean, we'll just double check it. I'm sure the temp in here is probably, I mean, it's not even room temp, so it's probably just under 70 degrees. And we'll kind of wait for that water out there to get up to close to that. It's a little bit later in the afternoon, so it shouldn't take too long for temps to get close. As long as they're within 5 degrees, I think it should be okay to just dump these fish right in. That is plenty of water for now, and one-handed. We'll just let this drip out of the hole wherever it is. It should be here somewhere. And it is a little chilly, so we'll let the sun, hopefully it pops out here again, and heat that up a little bit. In the meantime, let's just take a peek here at our fish. We don't want to stress them out too much. Probably can't tell how awesome these fish are, but they are night and day difference to the ones that we previously got. And that's not to throw any shade. The place that we previously got them, you just can't expect to have perfect, amazing, really cool genetics that are meticulously maintained from a company that's a big one. So again, hobbyist bred fish, if you have the opportunity to get fish from somebody who really cares about them and breeds them themselves, I think probably always do it, because I mean, I'm learning about this too as I go through it. It just seems to be the way to go if you want specific fish and you want them to be specifically awesome. I do want to get a couple other ponds set up though, because as you might know, we have rice fish in the fish shed / fish room that probably should be outside by now. Like, they're rice fish. This isn't a rice fish video, but I've been meaning to get them outside for a while now. Now that it's finally thinking like it's about to be summer here, sometimes it doesn't happen until June. Sometimes it doesn't happen until the end of June, but I think the nighttime temperatures are high enough now to where the fish that have been inside their whole lives, or at least the lives that they've spent with me, I don't think there's any concern. And again, they are rice fish, so they can take it. Those fish are gonna be over here on this wall. So we have the awesome Yokozuna Midnight Lames that we got from my boy Jackson over at the Badaka Lair. These fish are crazy cool. Can't wait to get them outside under the sun. And also from the Badaka Lair, the Yokihi, they're kind of all hiding back there. We have some that we bred up here that are a little younger. We might get to those today, not sure. Hobbyist fish, man. I mean, they're some of the best out there. That's kind of what I'm starting to realize. And it makes sense. Like, I'm trying to not beat the dead horse here, but more Fritz, baby. I just find that, like, Using something like Prime is kind of unnecessary, right? Because we don't have an issue with any sort of ammonia that we want to try and detoxify chemically. And then also, like, I mean, if we did, even if it was a little bit, like the pond plants, we want to feed those, right? Like, and they're going to take care of it, so it's never a problem anyway. That's my take on it. We're just waiting for things to get up to depth now. Like, I needed to move this. I still do need to move it. Like, it's unlevel and I don't love this spot for it anyway. But my main focus is not these rainbow shiners, it's the new ones. And then I think we're just gonna move the Yokozuras into this little guy. This holds about 6 gallons. I think this one holds like 12-ish. It might be double that. And if I'm being honest, this bigger pot for the rainbow shiners isn't my favorite home for them. I would like to create something that's also like this, just so they have a little bit more running room back and forth. I like this style of pond for them. So I don't know, that might be just a project for another day. Number one priority is just getting them out of those bags because they don't want to be in there. There could be a buildup of ammonia. I kind of get that vibe from the whole situation. It's something that just happens. So I forgot to holster my temperature gun. That's going to be an important thing. I think these guys are done. We'll give them a little bit more water. I think I have time to run and go get it. I need a belt for this thing. Like, don't look at my mess. We'll get the fish room done one day, guys, I promise. It's just tough with all this wonderful outdoor activities. Look at that, perfect timing. Let's check the temp over here. You just need a holster, man. So this guy's reading 65. Probably just wait until it gets up to 70 before we add the fish. Shouldn't take that long. 62, we just filled this one up. Another little splash in there. Oh, that's a lot. If that ever happens, it's okay. You can 5x dose this stuff and it's not a problem. And we are gonna go with no substrate on the Yokozuna rice fish bowl because the goal is to do breeding, and so we need to make some mops for this. We could add substrate, like that's not something that's gonna detract from the whole process, but adding plants and other things would. Certainly having some type of substrate, like a black sand or maybe some of this, which I don't have any more of, would have been good to put in there just from a microbiological standpoint, but I don't have any. So we can't do that. We could always add that later though. I've been hoarding every single color of pool noodle that I can find, like every different one that I haven't seen before. So I have all the colors of the rainbow, but I figured for the Yokozuras, we'll go with this kind of weird color. Like, what is that? I was about to say beige, like teal, right? So we just cut off a little bit here, and then we get our little Scotch Brite scrubby pad thing. I'm gonna use blue because why not? We need to find some scissors. If anybody has ever seen a camo pool noodle, like just that is straight up this, not like the covers that go over it, right? Like I've seen that before, but a camo pool noodle would be like the coolest thing ever. If that's a thing, let me know, but I don't think it is. So yeah, we just cut these things like this, almost all the way up, like half an inch, quarter of an inch. It doesn't really matter that much, guys, okay? Like, you can make this as wonky as you think it might be. It'll still work. If you cut it a little weird, you can make the last one really fat or really skinny, it doesn't matter. Take your little guy here, roll this up. Oh, you probably can't see that. Okay, all right, we're rolling. I do this for a living, I think. And just put it in there. Boom, you're done. Go rinse it off and you should be good to go. In here ready for rice fish, and we got one backup. We'll have to make a bunch more. I like to color code them for the different types of fish we have. I just think that's fun and it's easy once we pull them out and we have babies. Like, look at the tub, look at the colors, remember what fish goes to what color, boom, there you go. I really need to clean my barbecue, get it ready for the season, but anyway, rainbow shiners of course are a different beast altogether than rice fish. also a very nice, cold tolerant, hardy fish, but their breeding is totally different, and you can't use the mops. They're egg scatterers, not egg kind of depositors, selective depositors like the rice fish are. So the mops wouldn't work. We have to do a whole different system, or just get lucky, see little fry that haven't gotten gobbled up yet, take them out. That's what I did with the white cloud minnows last year, but I think we want to try and do a little bit of a better job than that, because you end up not getting that many at the end of the day. That's for a different video though. I think we just need to get these fish into this pond and get them out of those nasty bags. So let's go ahead and do some temperature checking here. I checked these earlier. They've been outside, of course, but we were looking like, we'll try and sneak in here. At least temperature gun, low 70s, maybe 72. Let's see how well the sun is working. 68 almost. We're getting pretty close. I think we could add them now and it would be fine, but I'll wait a little bit longer. The moment we have all been waiting for, including myself, we can add the fish. Our temperatures are pretty much perfectly matched up. That's going to reduce the amount of stress, obviously, going into that new water. I've also checked with the source and made sure that like they have soft water, I have soft water, so the mineral composition and the pH shouldn't really be that much different. That's going to make it really easy to just plop the fish into their new spot. The other thing that we have to keep in mind is because these fish have shipped and because the bags look like they could contain a decent amount of ammonia, as soon as we open those bags, there's going to be a pH shift, and the ammonia that is probably in these bags, again, there might not be any, but just in case, it's going to get really toxic. So we want to just get these fish out of this and into the new water as fast as possible, and that's why we're not drip acclimating them in this water, okay? So I need to go find some scissors. Wow, these fish are so awesome. Okay, got the bucket, got the net over the bucket. We're gonna cut, try to not lose them. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. We're going to pour in, get rid of all that nasty fish water, make sure everybody's out of the bag. Oh my gosh, these fish are incredible. Oh, oh man, you have to see this. Keep in mind, they are freaking out. Those two look like females. Look at this male from the top. Look at this other male. That's crazy. I didn't. Okay, next bag, next bag, next bag, next bag. Freaking out. This is what happens when a fish nerd freaks out at fish. I mean that is crazy. You guys saw what these fish looked like. I mean, I don't want to talk too much smack about these fish, because who knows, maybe they could color up, but I don't think. Are they going to do that? I mean, okay, we want to just give these, we don't want to startle them like that. We just put them in. So we'll back off. We'll give them their space. But I wish these fish wouldn't be so skittish and hide behind the plant so you could see them. I mean, or maybe Aquahuna just gave me all females. Like, I don't know. That seems weird though. I don't think that would happen. Okay, we'll give them some space. We're gonna go get the Yokozuras and we're gonna put them in here. Still just blown away by these fish. That is incredible. Night and day difference. These are these are so cool. The more I look at this setup, the more I realize just how much of a temporary home it's going to be. It's a little small. I don't like the shape of it. And so that's why I'm not going to spend too much more time building this out, because I just realized we need something bigger. And again, probably I think it's going to have to be something like this, probably bigger. I mean, hopefully bigger. It is going to be bigger. These fish are definitely older than the original ones that we got, which gives me hope for the coloration. But they're just gonna need more space. Like, I wanna be able to give them room to run. You can see just how like reactive they are to little movements. I don't even have to touch this. I just break a little bit of a shadow and they dart. That's like what we saw over here with these rainbow shiners. That's why you don't see any of them right now, because they're all balled up in a corner, which I also don't like. So lots of things to keep in the back of my mind. Also, just the fact that they like a little bit more aeration. So they're just a high oxygen demanding fish. They appreciate that. So we could plug in, like, if we don't have access to an outlet, we could put in one of those Aquarium co-op battery pack powered air pumps. We actually might do that here before we go to bed. The biggest priority was to get them out of those bags because they had just been in there for too long. So this is a lot better than the bag. It's certainly not like a very good long-term home for them. It was either this or in the fish room in probably a smaller volume of water anyway. But for the time being, it should be okay. I think the next order of affairs is to just get these rice fish into their new environment and see how they do tonight. I think they're up for the challenge. Now I have duckweed all in my pond. The Yokozuras specifically look really good with an all black setup, so this pond is kind of perfect for them. Their colors change a little bit, or at least we perceive them to, or maybe they change the pigment a little bit. They're kind of like a chameleon almost, kind of sort of maybe. But being outside should definitely have them pull out like the absolute best from their colors. So that is a cool aspect of the whole thing. But of course, you know, the whole reason why we're doing this is to really get them to breed, because I want a ton of these fish. They're so cool. Meanwhile, the rainbow shiners looking phenomenal, especially when the sun hits and they get in this right spot. It's hard to film, but I'm sure you can probably tell. Here's some swimming across. Gonna zoom in. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away by how good these look. It's crazy. But they are a little bit bigger than the fish that we had over here, so I'm still hopeful for these guys. I don't know. We'll see. It might be another whole season before these fish catch up to these in terms of their maturity, but you never know. I kind of forgot, though, that the whole point of having these fish was to breed them, and so, like I've probably mentioned before in this video, if we just keep them out here and pick up the 1 or 2 fry that I inevitably see at some point, the only way that works is if this thing is super planted. Again, not the permanent home, but I think what I'm going to do is, because I'm so unhappy with the size of this thing for these fish, is I think we're going to take out a couple pairs and then bring them inside, because that way we can really focus on the breeding and do the egg scatterer collection thing that I think some of you are familiar with. So I'm probably gonna do that tonight before we go to bed, and then we'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's supposed to be a super sunny, fantastic day. We can do some more stuff outside. We can kind of revisit the whole long-term setup for them and then round this whole thing out. Maybe even add some more rice fish, because we have more planter pots. Their first night outside, I think it got down to like 43. And it's like 7:30 in the morning right now. 52 is the water temperature. All the fish are looking good. Nobody jumped out, like a crazy predator didn't attack the new pond. I was a little worried about that, so that's why we drained the water level down just a little bit, even though these fish, I'm pretty sure, can jump like a foot into the air, something that you always have to be concerned about with these guys. Rice fish, not so much. I've never had one jump out of anything. Not to say that they probably couldn't, but yeah, I didn't end up moving anybody inside last night just because I didn't have the exact setup for it, but we're going to work on all that today. We're going to round these 2 ponds out. We're going to get everything situated so that these fish have everything the way that they should have it for the rest of the summer. I'll be honest, I'm kind of running out of time here. I don't think we're going to get to everything that I said that I hope we would do today. I thought that we could do it, but I don't see it happening. This 20 gallon is almost ready to go, so we're gonna select a few of those shiners to put them in here and then focus on breeding. But that still leaves me with the 12 fish outside, so I went ahead and I did a little bit of a kind of a makeover on their setup. I basically just did the same thing that we did over here in this pond, which was put dragonstone and sticks in the mix. And now, as you can see, well, there's a couple of them, but there are still 12 fish in here. They're just, I don't know, they are professional hide-and-go-seek players or something. According to my research, this is what they like, you know, the rock rubble type environment. It's what they use to breed in and around. And so, I don't know, if you provide it, they will hide in it, I guess. And this is something that we saw not only in these two ponds, but even in the tank that we set them up in the fish room. So I don't know, there's gotta be a happy medium somewhere where we give them an environment that they like and that they're comfortable with, but then we can also see them. I don't know what that is yet. I'll probably hook up some aeration or some type of water movement to that pond also in the meantime that those fish are gonna be in there, because we wanna give them a little bit of more flow just to get the dissolved oxygen up, kind of like what we have with over in this one with the solar pump. I need to go buy some more solar pumps because I'm running low, but we will do it, and we'll do all the other things that I said that we were gonna do in this video. I just need a little bit more time. And that's just kind of how pond season goes. I mean, there's a million things to do, and there's still a bunch of projects that I have to get done that will then help me to unlock a little bit more space to do more pond stuff. So I apologize for not getting it all in this video. I mean, I hope that wasn't like the whole purpose of this video. The purpose of it was that we got those really awesome fish, and I tried to improvise by setting up too many ponds all at the same time. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to get done. Well, it's not all I wanted to get done in this video, but you know what I mean. Thanks for hanging out with me over the last day or two while we got things sorted. Hopefully next week there will be another video where we actually have some closure on some of the stuff that we're doing. I'm gonna keep moving fish and getting things ready for the next steps on some of the spaces, and next week we'll see where we get with all this. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.